Most people don't understand what it truly means to become self-illuminating. While we're alive, we live connected to the sun, the external source that feeds the body energy, prana chi, and life force. But when the body dies, that cord is cut. The physical vessel no longer draws from the sun, and unless the soul has awakened and opened the Christ consciousness channel, it enters the afterlife without its own inner power source. A soul that has not activated its inner light doesn't disappear, but it does dim because it was never taught to run on its own divinity. Self-illumination is a literal spiritual transformation. The moment a soul stops depending on outside forces and begins generating light from within. This Christ consciousness channel isn't religion, it's a direct, open link to the divine that only anchors when wisdom, love, and intention are balanced and used for the good of all. When a human reaches this state, they embody God consciousness, and the human evolves into the God form. It's the soul remembering its original blueprint. When death comes, judgment does happen, but not from a throne in the sky. You judge yourself in the exact same manner you judged others and yourself in life. All illusions fall away. Every projection, every belief, every fear, every moment of compassion, every act of love, all of it becomes perfectly clear. You see the truth behind every judgment you placed on another because all humanity is fractal. There is no other. What you do to another, you do to yourself. What you condemn in another, you condemn in yourself. And what you forgive in another, you free within your own soul. This is why, after death, you not only face your shadows, you're also shown every moment of love, forgiveness, and goodness you poured out, because all of it was always you. This is the true fall. We are the archetype of Lucifer, not as some evil being, but as the ego's illusion of separation from source. The fall was the moment consciousness forgot itself to experience duality. Think of existence as source doing its own shadow work. You read either the shadow or the light depending on where you stand in the journey. The soul descends into the dream, into the illusion, into lifetimes of lessons, the fool's journey, all designed to wake the dreamer up so it remembers who it truly is. When the sleeper finally awakens, everything begins to shift. Timelines merge. Past life memories bleed through. Karma begins to dissolve. DNA rewrites itself, preparing to move into higher states of consciousness. Intuition heightens, synchronicities increase, and the soul begins its ascent back to oneness. This is the great spiritual battle, the divine nature versus the ego, the soul versus the matrix. The matrix isn't a place. It's a state of consciousness built on fear, control, and illusion. It will always try to keep the soul in chains. It will try to sacrifice the soul just to preserve the ego. This is the archetype we call the devil, not a being, but a force of separation. But a fully awakened soul anchored in Christic frequency cannot die. It cannot be extinguished because it has transformed from a dependent being into a self-illuminating one. The great illusion of death dissolves. This doesn't mean you stay on earth forever. It means you recognize your divinity and see that death never truly existed. It was merely a change in frequency. The soul's energy can never die. It just becomes undetectable from humans' limited five senses. An awakened soul begins to see beyond the veil and illusions begin to dissolve. You begin shifting into higher dimensions of awareness. You realize you can pull heaven into earth. You become the creator of your reality. You stop being controlled by the dream and instead control the dream itself. But whenever you let fear or ego lead, whenever you worship anything outside of yourself, systems, beings, structures, material possessions, you give your creative power away. The soul's energy leaks. You dim. A soul that cannot self-illuminate will eventually burn out because it's Energy is constantly being fed into parasitic egregores that drain vitality. This leads to fatigue, health issues, fragmented thoughts, and the eventual breakdown of the physical body. The body perishes because it was never regenerating from the inside. It was depending on outer energy to survive. To become self-illuminating is to remember that you are not separate from Source. You are a spark of it. It's the return to inner divinity. It's the stabilization of your immortal nature. It's the soul reclaiming its throne and realizing it was never meant to borrow energy. It was meant to be energy. You stop relying on the sun because you've become one.